Street Knowledge Soldiers presents Redemption. Today I have Anthony Navarro, CDCR number G25971, and has been condemned since 2005 and now is live with me on our show. Today is a show based on reverence to our parents. Today's conversation is one I like to deliver as a living amends. And the title for this interview is called Hefita, which means mom. And I'd like to welcome you to the show, Anthony.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have you on the show. You're not in San Quentin death row anymore, are you?
No. I'm in Chino now.
How's that feel?
It feels good. A lot more freedom, no handcuffs. You know what I mean? No locked doors.
Yeah, no more locked doors.
No more locked doors, and I mean,
they lock them, but not as constant. There's freedom. There's no constant confinement.
No.
You've been living in the shoebox for 18 years, right?
Over there, your program consists of, like you go out to yard. It's supposed to be 7:30, but we don't make it out there till 8:39. And yard recall at 12. Once you go back into your cell, your day's done, and then they'll run showers if it's your turn. Because they got front bar and back bar. You know? But other than that, you're in your cell. You know? Some people like to join, like me, being in that cell, sometimes I used to love to get a ducket, just to go somewhere. Just to go. And I got a homie, his name's Toy. He joined all the groups just to get me out of the cell.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to Toy, which happens to be Mr. Salazar.
Yeah, I'm right here, man. Listen.
And we're gonna do one for him as well, but just to throw him out on the shout out.
But it's you know, it's a messed up place because you go in from one cage to another cage to another cage. You know what I mean? And everything's brought to you, your food, your packages, your medicine. You don't get to socialize, run down the tiers. Not like right here, my cell's open all day. You know what I mean?
You know what hurt my heart, Anthony, is when you showed me your wrist, you said, look at my calluses.
Yeah.
From all the handcuffing.
All of us got them, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I want to make a point very strongly for our listeners. You were not resentenced, you were not vacated, you didn't get nothing overturned. You are still a condemned man sentenced to death, which means
still fighting my appeal.
Fighting your appeal. All they did was shut down the row.
All they did was shut down the row. The majority of the inmates went from a max security level 4 to level 2s.
Depending on your file.
Depending on your file and your disciplinary. You know. But the majority of the inmates are still fighting on their appeals. And there's some guys that are waiting for execution dates. You know what I mean? So, like, after my appeal's all exhausted, and if nothing changes, I'll receive an execution date.
Well, my mission with Street Knowledge Soldiers Presents Redemption is to do just that. Show the redemption that we as men have fought in our hearts to achieve. I believe every life is worth saving. Every life is a story through a trial and tribulation. And through that trial and tribulation, there's a story. And in that story, me and you were talking. And in that talking, we got to talking about your Hefita and what she means to you. And that it's not so often she'd get to go see you up in San Quentin, because that's all the way up in the Bay Area, and she's from down south, East LA. And now she's gonna come see you. I lost my mom when I was 14. I spiraled out of control based on that. You grew up in a gang-related, criminal-minded environment. I did the same, and I picked up that warped belief system as you did as well. You coming from Pacoima, California?
Yes.
Projects?
Yeah. The San Fernando Gardens.
grew up in, I was born in Bellflower, California, Kaiser Permanente, and then from there, lived in a house on Smoky Lane, which was off 183rd and Norwalk Boulevard. And I lived there till a plane crash happened. A Cessna ran into a big Mexican jumbo jet or something, and they fell on a bunch of houses. It was traumatic. Seen people looting bodies. It was very dark. I was about 10 or 11. It traumatized my sister. And what Dad did is my dad wanted to do better by us, so he sold the house once the city got back on its feet, and we moved out to a city called Moreno Valley. And then from there, me going into that junior high school, I already had the criminality in me from being in and out of those streets, Artesia, Hawaiian Gardens, Norwalk, all through Southeast LA. I used to ride my bike. My mom used to say, don't cross the street. Okay, Hefita, I won't. So I stayed on one side of the street, but I go all the way up, all the way down. And that take me through Hawaiian Gardens, through Sarsana, through the Chivas, everywhere. I took that culture and I took it to Moreno Valley, and I started something called the Rascals Gang. And I have a deep regret. I have remorse because of it. And that's why I wanted to pull you over, Anthony, because we were talking about our Hefas, we were talking about our Jefes, and you know, I put my mom through a lot of stress, and she had cancer. She didn't win that fight, and I lost her at 14. And then you got your mom, and she's alive and well, still fighting for you, praying for you, just doing what a Hefa does. And I want to ask you, Anthony, like, your mom means what to you?
She's my world. You know what I mean? She's been through so much in life that she didn't deserve. Not just with me, but uncles and brothers and what have you. She's had to share. But me getting sentenced to death is like a part of her is missing. You know, just this weekend she just came up here and she said, now that I have you closer, I feel complete. She goes, because there's no handcuffs, there's no cages, and I can make sure you eat. And my mom's about 4'7", about 90 pounds, tiny little lady. And it was just good to know moms was there, you know. I lost my dad. My dad, just like my mom, was everything to me, but I always find myself telling my mom, I'm sorry for everything I did, you know, for all the tears, for all the heartache. And she tells me, no, I'm her son, you know. And, but when I was out there, I spoiled my mom. She was going to Florida, she was going everywhere. She wanted a new car, I buy her car, anything she wanted. Because I was trying to balance the scale of everything I did wrong, you know what I mean? I mean, from shooting up her boyfriend's car, shooting him, I mean, running away when I was 13 to be in the streets. And I never came back home. And I started selling drugs as I lived in my car. And I sold drugs so I can eat. And I loved the neighborhood. I loved everything about the neighborhood. And I didn't want to go back home. But 2 years later, my mom finds me. I already got my own apartment. Got my girlfriend living with me. She's pregnant. You know what I mean? And my mom is trying to tell me to come back home. And I said, I didn't want to go home. You know what I mean? Because I'm doing what I want to do. And the following month, I got arrested for a gang-related killing. And I ended up going to the youth authority. And she hung with me throughout the youth authority. I get out and I commit another one. And I go from YA to prison. And that was a whole different life. That was a whole different animal. To jump from turning 18 in YA, going to DVI, ending up in Soledad. And at that time, all the prison gangs were still out there. They didn't have no Pelican Bay. But you had, from the Mexican Mafia to the Norteños, you had the Indians, you had the Black Guerrilla family, and you had the Aryan Brotherhood, and you had the others. And it was like all about respect back then. And then caught a jailhouse murder, and then I found myself in Pelican Bay. But it's, if I can take it all back now.
And this is all before, now you have a condemned sentence.
Now I got
so you're just talking about, you know, what you were doing while dragging.
To survive.
And I use the word dragging because I drug my mom through the mud because, you know, the gift of a mother's love is like no other.
No other. And there's nothing worse. My mom saw me on the breaking news that I was being arrested. You know, and my mom didn't know how far my gang affiliation went until the breaking news exposed it. You know, and my mom shows up to the county jail I was in, and I would tell her not to come. You know what I mean? Don't even go to my court because it wasn't gonna be nice. You know?
Yeah.
But my mom never missed a court date.
See, there's two sides to the coin. And with that coin, you have heads, the victim's family. And my heart goes out to all the victims of all the offenders throughout, not just this nation, but this world. Because, you know, hurting people's not the way. Taking someone's life is not ours to take, if not out of natural causes. And this is not to denounce the power of victim awareness and victim impact and validating that pain and suffering needs to be healed. And I wish that for all victims' families. I have a victim's family and the ripple effect of that based on my incarceration that led me here for 23 years. And I'm here for murder, and I'm a lifer, not a condemned lifer, but I faced it. I had a special circumstance of torture. I got acquitted, and by that grace and mercy, I didn't get to go meet you and a lot of the brothers that I happen to know up on the row, because I had my fair share of high notoriety as well. And I wanted to just make that clear, because that's a story that will never have an ending, because you can never put back what we took. But I want to put this on the air because the other side of that coin, which is the tails, is our family and our jefas and everyone else. But at the top of the podium is our moms. And I want you to tell this world who's going to listen to this, whether you stop by to listen because you don't agree with what our past led us to be incarcerated. There's people that, you know, agree with the death penalty and agree with an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and I pray for those people. I don't believe in that. I believe in the fact that every tragic story could still bring forth some type of growth, correction. It could lead someone not to make the same mistakes, so on and so forth. And based on that, I'm capturing the other side of the coin, because I want you, as a condemned person who may not be society's favorite, but I want the world to be able to hear you tell your mother what a real apology sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, to my mom, I would give her the world, even though I failed as a son. But